Okay, guys, early in the morning, and I was like, hey, I think that I need to do a review. It's been eons. So here we are. We're going to do a special review. It's all my Christmas gifts that I ordered and that came recently, and I wanted to review them. And so we're going to do that. So, the first Gremlins movie, which I think is one of the best movies, honestly, made um, of all time. I love the background story. I even like the second movie too. I think the cast is really well directed. The plot is really interesting, funny, outgoing, action packed. It's just one of those movies that's classic, and I think that everybody should see it at least once in their lifetime. And yes, I do think it is a Christmas movie because it is a movie that has a lot of Christmas themes in it. So I'm going to stick to that. The next one, J. Wilkins 79 actually got for me for Christmas. The Santa Claus with Tim Allen. This is the widescreen special edition. And this was one of my favorite Tim Allen movies that he was ever in. This and Jungle to Jungle was really, really funny, and I enjoyed all of these movies. Um, so that was a nice thing that he did for me for Christmas. The next one is Stand By Me, and I wanted to actually show you that this is the VHS copy, and I'll show you right there. Um, this is kind of rare. I had to hunt on Amazon for it, and eventually I was able to find it. Stand By Me is another classic movie that I feel like everybody should watch at least once in their lifetime. Um, Great background story. Plus, Corey Haim is in it too. Um, you know, and I was always a fan of his acting. I thought he was a great actor, and I think that we lost him at a very young, you know, age in his career. And I think that, that happens in Hollywood a lot. And I think that, he's going to be missed. Okay, the next one is one of my favorite movies, Coneheads. Um, Dan Aykroyd does a great job in this. You get cameos as well from other well-known actors and actresses as well in this, such as Chris Farley. Steve Martin is a guest appearance in it for a few scenes. Um, yeah, it's just, I don't know. It was one of those hilarious movies in the 90s that came off a SNL skit that did very, very well. And yeah, it's definitely a movie that I recommend everybody to see at least once again. Okay, we got to move some of this stuff here so I can get to the other reviews. Yes, Big Top Peewee. I love this movie. Now, some people are critical on Peewee, uh, for they're saying that he's not a good actor when he plays that character, and I totally disagree. I think that Pee Wee Herman um, had some great, movies, and plus Pee Wee's Playhouse. I thought was as growing up as a kid, I thought was really entertaining, very very funny, and I just think people give him way too much hate, and he was a big part of the late '80s. I mean, I don't understand why people, give him such a hard time. I feel like he's a great actor, and he's been in other movies, as well, and made guest appearances recently. He was even on his own Netflix special for a few seasons. So plus the HBO special, which people don't know about. Um, Pee Wee's Big Adventure. This is another movie that I thought was hilarious. Uh, I mean, he goes absolutely insane over his bike missing. And then again, you have a great cast of people who show up in the movie who are guest stars. And I feel like people should give that movie an opportunity. I think they would like it. The next one is one of my favorites as a kid growing up, and that's The Sandlot. I like the original because it just has that feel of growing up in a neighborhood with your buddies playing baseball, in the park, and I don't know, it just has that old feel to it. Plus James Earl Jones, he's been in lots of good movies, including that one. So yeah, okay. Now we're gonna get into my favorite space themed English show of all time. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Red Dwarf itself. And I'll show you. I have quite a bit of seasons here, actually. I have 3. And actually, I apologize. I was holding that totally backwards. So, what do I want to talk about Red Dwarf? Red Dwarf, honestly, now when I was a teenager, my family was obsessed with this show. We watched it on PBS when it was aired, and we would have nights where we would actually watch marathons of this TV show. Plus, Back to Earth is also a special that they did recently in the last few years. And it's been very, very, very successful as far as selling. And I think that Red Dwarf is better than any other space drama TV show ever made, in my opinion. Because it's funny, it's hilarious, it has, lots of great jokes in it. Um, I like the fact that uh, Lister is the only human being left in the galaxy. And then you have characters like Crichton, which is an android, and he begins to have feelings, human of nature, basically trying to adapt to being, the only android on the ship. I like the episode with the Suicide Squid. That's a fabulous, hilarious, episode. I like the one where they go back in time to where the Kennedy assassination was. That's pretty interesting. Um, and the episode where they go to the planet where the villains for like all the books and cartoons and movies take over the planet, and they have to train, uh, you know, basically wax figures to fight against the villains. So then you get like Abraham Lincoln and I think Socrates is one of them, and I think Billy the Kid and a bunch of other people. Um, and I like the fact that the creativeness with this show was just so far out at the time. I mean, there was no other show like it. Red Dwarf is a top 5 space comedy TV show, I believe. And I think that it should be respected for all the wonderful, wonderful episodes that we've had in this series. And it's still going. I believe they're still filming it. So I think we're up to like season 14, I think, by now. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to quickly do this review and just give, a thanks to Jay Wilkins, basically, for, you know, giving me one of my favorite movies of all time that I had lost several years ago, which is the Santa Claus. Um, and I would say, watch all these. I think they're all worth your time. So, okay, I'm gonna get going here. I gotta eat breakfast and drink my coffee. Coffee, 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 coffee.